21st of March, 1945. 3:42 in the morning. 8,000 meters above Cologne. Squadron leader Thomas Mitchell, pilot of Lancaster bomber. Victor 7-2, age 31. 247 combat missions. Feels the familiar lurch as his aircraft releases its payload. Through the bomb sight, he watches 6 500-pound high-explosive bombs tumble toward the darkened city below. Target: suspected ammunition depot camouflaged as hospital complex. Q. Quadrant 7-4. The explosions bloom like orange flowers in the darkness. Perfect accuracy. Mitchell keys his radio. Tango leader to control. Target saturated. Direct hits confirmed. What Mitchell cannot see. What he will not know for 42 years. 2.4 kilometers directly beneath his bombing run. In a reinforced basement surgery room, Dr. Wilhelm Adler's scalpel has just entered the abdominal cavity of a 5-year-old Jewish boy named Jakob Rosenbaum. The first explosion hits. The ceiling shudders. Dust cascades from concrete beams. A surgical tray crashes to the floor. But Adler's hands do not shake. Not yet. Peritonitis. Rachel, age 9, waits on a third makeshift gurney. Internal hemorrhaging from 3 days of untreated injuries sustained when their hiding place collapsed during the previous week's bombing. Their parents were taken 4 months ago. Their grandmother died of pneumonia in January. For 8 months, Sister Margaret, a Franciscan nun with a talent for forgery and an absolute disregard for her own safety, has hidden the Rosenbaum children in a sealed compartment behind the hospital. Chapel's organ pipes. Yesterday, someone informed the Gestapo. The officers will arrive at dawn. Sister Margaret brought the children to Adler at 2:57 in the morning, her face gray with terror and determination. "You have 6 hours," she said. "Perhaps 7 if the bombing delays them." Adler looked at 3 unconscious children, calculated the surgical time required, and made a decision that would define the rest of his life. 11 hours of continuous surgery. No breaks. No sleep. Under bombardment. To save 3 Jewish children while wearing the Nazi party pin he'd maintained for appearance since renouncing his beliefs 2 years prior. All knows the mathematics of war. 1 bomb can save 10 Allied lives. He does not question. He has learned not to question. His logbook records 247 previous missions. Hamburg, Dresden, Berlin, Cologne 12 times before tonight. He has become efficient, precise. The Lancaster banks into position. Below, in the basement, Adler completes the first incision on Jakob. The boy's skull was fractured when debris collapsed on the family's hiding space. Subdural hematoma. Without intervention, death within 6 hours. Adler begins the delicate process of relieving the pressure. His hands, trained over 23 years of practice, move with mechanical precision. He does not think about the Gestapo. He does not think about his party membership. He does not think about the consequences. He thinks only about the next suture, the next clamp, the next decision in an endless chain of medical decisions that will stretch across 11 hours. D at 3:59. 6 more bombs. The aircraft lurches upward, freed of weight. Through the intercom, his bombardier confirms. Direct hits. Secondary explosions. Possible ammunition detonation. Mitchell allows himself a moment of satisfaction. Good work. Clean work. The kind of precision that earns commendations. What he does not know. The secondary explosions are a gas main rupturing 300 meters from the hospital. The ammunition detonation is a warehouse of industrial chemics. All's igniting. The hospital basement, reinforced during construction in 1937, absorbs the shockwaves. Adler feels the impacts through the floor, through the operating table, through his feet. The overhead light swings wildly. Sister Margaret, assisting as surgical nurse despite no formal training, grabs the light fixture to steady it. "How much longer?" she whispers. Adler does not look up from Jakob's exposed brain tissue. 9 hours, he says. Perhaps 10. Sister Margaret. E's face drains of color. The Gestapo will arrive in 5 hours. Perhaps 6. Adler knows the mathematics as well as Mitchell knows the mathematics of bombing. The difference: Adler is trying to create life while Mitchell is trying to destroy it. Neither man knows they are locked in a duel neither intended. Remains. Mitchell has learned to think in tonnages, in crater diameters, in acceptable margins of error. He no longer sees buildings. He sees coordinates, grid references, target designations. This is how one survives 247 missions, by transforming horror into geometry. The bombs fall. 7 direct hits on the hospital's eastern wing. The maternity ward, evacuated 3 weeks ago, collapses. The administrative offices disintegrate. The chapel, where the Rosenbaum children, hid for 8 months, takes a direct hit. The organ pipes that concealed them twist into abstract sculpture. If Sister Margaret had waited one more day, the children would have died in that explosion. Adler would never have faced this choice. History would have unfolded differently, but she did not wait. And now, in the basement, Adler sutures the final layer of Jakob's cranial repair. 4 hours and 35 minutes of surgery. 7 hours remaining. 2 more children. Weak pulse, but steady. Adler allows himself 3 minutes to drink water, to flex his cramping fingers, to close his eyes. His surgical mask is soaked with sweat despite the basement's freezing temperature. The heating system failed 6 days ago. They operate by generator light, by candlelight when the generator stutters. Sister Margaret offers him coffee. He declines. Caffeine will make his hands shake. He needs absolute steadiness. At 4:42, he begins operating on Sarah. Peritony. Tis. The appendix ruptured approximately 36 hours ago. Infection has spread through the abdominal cavity. Without antibiotics, without proper surgical facilities, the survival rate is perhaps 20%. Adler does not think about statistics. He thinks about anatomy, about the next decision, about keeping this 7-year-old girl alive long enough for the penicillin they don't have to work miracles they cannot expect. Bomber stream is thinning as aircraft return to base, fuel exhausted, bombs expended. Mitchell has enough fuel for 3 more passes. He intends to use them. The Lancaster's bomb bay doors open. Through the bombardier's sight, Mitchell sees his previous work. Fires burning across 6 city blocks, smoke rising 3,000 meters. The hospital complex barely visible through the haze. Good saturation, his bombardier reports. Recommend final pass on Western Quadrant. Mitchell agrees. The bombs fall. This time, one strikes within 40 meters of the surgery room. The explosion is catastrophic. The basement ceiling cracks. A support beam splits. Concrete dust fills the air so thickly that Adler cannot see his own hands. Sister Margaret screams. The generator dies. Complete darkness. For 17 seconds, nothing. No light. No sound except ringing ears. No sight except Sarah's open abdomen, invisible in the blackness. Then Sister Margaret finds a candle, strikes a match. The flame illuminates a scene from Nightmare. Adler, covered in concrete dust like a ghost, still standing at the operating table, still holding his instruments, still bent over Sarah's exposed peritoneum. He has not moved, has not flinched. In 17 seconds of absolute darkness, with explosions collapsing the building above them, he maintained his position, his orientation, his mental map of Sarah's anatomy. When the candle flares, he continues suturing as if nothing happened. Margareta whispers. Adler does not respond. His focus is absolute. 5:47 in the morning. Mitchell's 5th run. He is frustrated. The target should be obliterated by now. Why does Bomber Command want such thorough destruction of a single hospital? He does not question. He releases another payload. 6 bombs. 5 miss. 1 strikes the hospital's western wing, 73 meters from the surgery room. Close enough that the operating table shifts 3 centimeters. Close enough the T. Adler's next suture tears tissue. Sarah's abdominal wall begins bleeding. Adler curses, the first word he has spoken in 40 minutes. He cauterizes, clamps, continues. 6:19. Mitchell's final run. He has expended his entire bomb load except for 6 bombs reserved for the return journey. Against doctrine, against orders, he decides to drop them. Complete saturation. Nothing left. The Lancaster descends to 7,000 meters for a better angle. Mitchell can see the fires clearly now. Dawn is breaking. The city is burning. The hospital is a ruin. Mission accomplished. He releases the last 6 bombs and banks toward England. Tango leader to control. Target destroyed. Returning to base. Mitchell does not think about the people below. Cannot afford to think about them. He thinks about breakfast, about sleep, about the decoration he will probably receive for such thorough work. What he does not think about, in the basement directly beneath his final bomb run, Dr. Wilhelm Adler has just completed Sarah's surgery. 7 hours and 37 minutes total. 2 children saved, 1 remaining. While simultaneously monitoring Sarah. 2 patients. 11 surgical tasks requiring attention. Sister Margaret is not trained for this. She can hold instruments, can maintain light, but cannot make medical decisions. Adler begins a dance of impossible complexity. Suture Rachel's internal bleeding. Check Sarah's vitals. Adjust Rachel's position. Inject Sarah with improvised fever reducers. Clamp Rachel's hepatic artery. Monitor Sarah's breathing. Back and forth. Patient to patient. Keeping Defy. Woo children alive simultaneously while bombs continue to fall. While the Gestapo approaches. While his own body screams for rest. It exceptionally well. In the debriefing room, he drinks tea, eats toast, describes the mission in technical terms. Tonnage delivered, accuracy achieved, secondary explosions observed. He does not mention that he enjoyed it. Does not mention the satisfaction of watching his bomb strike precisely where intended. Does not mention that he has become very, very good at destroying things. The debriefing officer makes notes. You'll receive the Distinguished Flying Cross for this campaign, he says. 73 direct hits on a priority target. Textbook execution. 73. Mitchell had not counted. But yes, that sounds right. 6 bombs per run. 12 runs over the past 9 hours. 73 bombs. Enough to obliterate any structure, any depot, any target. More than enough. He has not eaten in 14 hours, has not slept in 31. His vision blurs periodically. Twice, he has nearly fainted. Sister Margaret has been feeding him water, spoonfuls of sugar, anything to maintain consciousness. Rachel stabilizes. Weak, but alive. Sarah remains critical. Jakob is holding steady. 3 children, all breathing, all with pulses. Against every mathematical probability, they are alive, but the Gestapo is coming. Sister Margaret heard vehicles outside 20 minutes. Ago. Heard German voices, commands being shouted. They are searching the hospital ruins methodically. When they reach the basement, there will be no hiding 3 Jewish children on operating tables. Adler looks at his watch. 10 hours and 33 minutes. He had estimated 11 hours. He was close, very close, but not close enough. Faces the door. He is still wearing his Nazi party pin. Perhaps it will buy seconds. Perhaps nothing. The door opens. 2 Gestapo officers enter. Hauptsturmführer Klaus Reinhardt, age 44, 16 years with the secret police. Behind him, Unterscharführer Otto Becker, age 27, notorious for efficiency. Reinhardt's eyes scan the room. 1 surgeon covered in blood and concrete dust. 1 nun, 3 operating tables, 3 children. The children's features are unmistakably Semitic EV, in their unconscious state. Reinhardt's hand moves to his sidearm. Dr. Adler, he says slowly. Explain. Adler does not hesitate. His voice is steady, cold, absolutely without fear. These children have typhus. He lies. Highly contagious. Likely infected half the staff before we isolated them. I am conducting emergency procedures to prevent epidemic spread. Reinhardt steps closer, suspicious. They are Jews. They are vectors, Adler responds. Unless you want typhus spreading through our garrison, I suggest you leave this room immediately. It is a desperate bluff. Typhus is terror to German soldiers, more feared than bullets. Reinhardt hesitates. He knows these are the Rosenbaum children. Knows they should be executed. But typhus. His hand moves away from his sidearm. How long? He demands. Quarantine requires 14 days, Adler says. I will notify authorities when safe. It is buying time. Perhaps only hours. But hours might be enough. Reinhardt stares at Adler for sus. Even teen seconds. Then nods curtly. 14 days. If I learn you are lying, doctor, you will join them. He leaves. Becker follows, casting a backward glance that promises he does not believe the story. When the door closes, Sister Margaret collapses against the wall. Adler returns to Sarah, who is still critical. The lie has bought time, but Sarah needs more than time, needs miracles. 11 hours and 7 minutes total surgery time. 3 children alive, 1 barely. The Gestapo temporal. I deceived. And upstairs, the hospital continues to burn from Mitchell's 73 bombs. Ions, Sister Margaret counts. 1, 2, 3. Adler's hands are shaking so violently he can barely maintain rhythm. 15 compressions. Breathe. 15 more. Breathe. 2 minutes. 3. 5. At 7 minutes, Sister Margaret whispers, "She's gone." Adler does not stop. 8 minutes. 9. His arms are cramping, vision tunneling. At 11 minutes of continuous chest compressions, Sarah's heart restarts. Weak, irregular, but beating. Adler collapses over her body, catching himself on the operating table. His pocket watch. Damage during one of Mitchell's explosions has stopped. The hands frozen at 14:23. The exact moment Sarah's heart restarted. 14:23. 11 hours and 6 minutes after he began. 3 children alive. Barely. Impossibly. Alive. Fading from memory. Just another target. Another set of coordinates. Another mission completed with textbook efficiency. He does not think about what his bombs destroyed. Does not think about the mathematics of death. Does not think about the hospital basement where a surgeon worked for 11 hours under 73 explosions. Cannot think about it. If he thought about it, he could not continue flying. So he does not think. This is survival. This is duty. This is war. Tains the typhus quarantine fiction for 6 days. Long enough for the children to stabilize. Long enough for Sister Margaret to arrange transport through underground networks. Long enough for the war to shift closer to its inevitable conclusion. On the 7th day, American forces advance into the city. The Gestapo evacuates. Sister Margareta moves the children to a displaced persons facility. Adler burns his Nazi party pin in the hospital's incinerator, removes his surgical coat covered in TIS, free children's blood, and walks into the ruins of Cologne expecting arrest, execution, or at minimum judgment. Instead, he finds chaos, liberation, collapse of certainty. The children disappear into the refugee system. Adler assumes they died, assumes his 11 hours bought nothing but temporary survival, assumes the story ends there. R. Jakob, an engineer. Rachel, a physician, inspired by the surgeon who saved her life. They remember nothing of the surgery, were unconscious throughout. Know only that Sister Margaret and a German doctor, whose name they never learned, saved them. The story becomes family legend, impossible to verify, impossible to forget. In 1973, Rachel Rosenbaum, now Dr. Rachel Kaufman, begins researching hospital records, survivor testimonies, cross-referencing dates, locations, details. Looking for the surgeon. Looking for proof that the impossible actually happened. It takes 14 years. In 1987, she finds him. Dr. Wilhelm Adler, age 82, living in a small apartment in Munich, mostly forgotten, occasionally teaching at a medical school. She writes. He responds. They correspond for 6 months before she asks, "Would you meet me? Would you meet the child you saved?" Adler agrees. They arrange a meeting at the newly opened Memorial Museum in Cologne, Dunweg, which has preserved the hospital basement as historical site. Room, under 73 bombing attacks by RAF forces, Dr. Wilhelm Adler performed 11 continuous hours of surgery to save 3 Jewish children hidden from Nazi persecution. Sarah, Jacob, and Rachel Rosenbaum survived. This site commemorates the choice to create life while war demanded death. Rachel reads the plaque for the 11th time. 73 bombing attacks. She had not known the specific number, had not known how close death came. Footsteps behind her. She turns. An elderly man, thin, walking with a cane, wearing a simple suit. Wilhelm Adler. They stare at each other for 17 seconds. Then Rachel speaks, voice breaking. "You saved my life." Adler's eyes fill with tears. "You were 9 years old. Internal hemorrhaging. I remember. My brother Jakob is an engineer in London. My sister Sarah teaches literature in Tel Aviv. We have children, grandchildren. Because of you." Adler cannot speak, can only nod. Rachel continues. "The plaque says 73 bombings. I researched. RAF records. I found the pilot." Adler's head snaps up. "What?" "Squadron leader Thomas Mitchell, retired 1971, lives in Cornwall. I wrote to him, told him about the surgery, about the basement, about the children he nearly killed while trying to destroy ammunition that did not exist." Adler's face drains of color. "You told him?" "I invited him to meet us. Today. Here." Adler grips his cane. "Why would you do that?" "Because he needs to know. Because you need to know. Because the story is incomplete without him. Tlai. But not this room. Not us." Mitchell turns to Adler. 2 men. Same war. Opposite purposes. Neither speaking for long seconds. Finally, Mitchell. "I dropped 73 bombs. Trying to kill you. Trying to destroy what I thought was an ammunition depot." Adler's voice is steady. "Your bombs kept the Gestapo away. The explosions delayed their search. Gave me time I needed. Without your attacks, the officers would have reached the basement an hour earlier. The children would not have been a table enough to move. Your bombs saved them." Mitchell's face crumples. "I don't understand." Neither do I, Adler admits. I operated for 11 hours trying to undo what war had done. You bombed for 9 hours trying to end the war. We were enemies. We were allies. We never knew. Rachel steps forward, takes Mitchell's hand, takes Adler's hand, brings them together. I am alive because you both were there. The bombing, the surgery, both necessary, both impossible, both real. Mitchell looks as his hands that released 73 bombs, now shaking with age, with emotion, with the weight of understanding delayed by 42 years. I thought I was destroying, he says. You were, Adler responds. But destruction and creation are not always opposites. Sometimes they are partners neither intended. L's flight log, open to March 21st, 1945. Sister Margarete's testimony, recorded before her death in 1979. The pocket watch, stopped at 14:23. Photographs of Sarah, Jacob, and Rachel as children, as adults, with their own children. A family tree showing 27 descendants. 27 lives that exist because of 11 hours of surgery under 73 bombs. Because a surgeon chose creation. Because a pilot chose duty. Because Sea War's mathematics failed to account for individual human decisions that refused to calculate properly. Mitchell breaks the silence. I received the Distinguished Flying Cross for that mission. For accuracy, for thoroughness, for destroying your hospital. Adler smiles grimly. I received nothing. Expected arrest, expected execution, expected judgment. And instead, I met you, 42 years later, and learned that the worst night of my life created the best outcome I could not have. Imagined. Rachel adds, 27 descendants, my children, Jacob's children, Sarah's children, all alive because you both were there. Mitchell's tears fall freely now. I'm sorry, he whispers. For what? Adler asks. For trying to destroy what you were creating. Adler shakes his head. You did not know. Neither of us knew. That is the nature of war. We act in darkness, hoping our actions mean something. Sometimes they mean the opposite of what we intended. Sometimes they mean more. The museum curator approaches, asks if they need anything. Rachel declines. They remain in the basement, 3 people connected by mathematics that should not work. 73 bombs plus 11 hours equals 27 lives. War's calculus failed that night. Individual human choice overwhelmed strategic necessity. Mitchell keeps staring at the bomb damage in the walls. He can calculate trajectory, force, explosive yield. Can determine that his 14th bomb, dropped at 5:23 am. in the morning, caused the crack in the eastern support beam. His 37th bomb, dropped at 7:41, created the hole in the ceiling through which water still drips during rain. His 62nd bomb, dropped at 12:15, embedded shrapnel in the western wall that remains visible. 73 attempts to destroy, 0 successes. Not because his aim was poor, but because the basement was reinforced. Because Adler refused to stop. Because Sister Margaret held the light stead. Because 3 children clung to life with a tenacity that mathematics cannot measure. How did you continue? Mitchell asks Adler. After each explosion, how did you keep operating? Adler considers the question. I did not think about the bombs. Only the next suture, the next decision, the next second. If I had thought about the larger picture, about the impossibility, I would have stopped. So I did not think. I simply continued. Mitchell nods slowly. That is how I flew. Did not think about. To what my bombs destroyed. Only the next target, the next mission, the next duty. If I had thought about this, about you, about them, I could not have continued. Then we are the same, Adler says. Both acting in darkness. Both hoping our actions meant something good. But mine meant death. Not here. Not that night. Here. Your destruction bought time. Created space. Delayed the Gestapo. Your bombs were not weapons. They were instruments. Crude. Unintended. But effective. Mitchell shakes his head. You are being generous. I am being truthful. War is complex. We want simple stories. Hero, villain, good, evil. But the truth is messier. You tried to destroy. I tried to create. Both succeeded. Both failed. Both created outcome neither intended. That is not generosity. That is fact. America. 3 continents. 3 lives. 3 branches of a family that should not exist. We gathered to plan this meeting, Rachel explains. To decide if we should tell you. If we should tell him. If the story needed completion. or if some stories are better left with missing pieces. Why did you decide to tell us? Adler asks. Because incomplete stories haunt. Because both of you deserve to know. Because the world needs to understand that war's mathematics are not absolute. That individual human choice matters. That 11 hours and 73 bombs can create life instead of destroying it if the humans involved refuse to accept the expected outcome. Mitchell takes the photograph, studies the faces. They look happy, he observes. They are, Rachel confirms. We are. We have lived full lives. Have loved, have created, have contributed. Because you both were there. Because you both made choices that mattered. Adler touches the photograph gently. I thought they died. Berfo. RT 2 years. I believed the 11 hours bought nothing but temporary survival. That the Gestapo found them eventually. That my effort was futile gesture. It was not futile, Rachel says firmly. It was everything. You gave us life. He gave us time. Sister Margaret gave us escape. Together, accidentally, without coordination, you created miracle. Miracle, Mitchell repeats. I don't believe in miracles. Neither do I, Adler admits. I believe in surgery, in precision, in trained human, hands making correct decisions. But this was miracle. The mathematics do not work. The probability was 0. Yet here we are. Here we are, Mitchell echoes. 3 bombs fell, and 11 hours of surgery created outcome that should not exist. They stand outside the museum entrance. Rachel has arranged dinner, a restaurant nearby. She wants them to meet her husband, her children, wants them to see the family that exists because of one impossible night. Mitchell hesitates. I'm not sure I can, he admits. Can what? Rachel asks. Can celebrate, can accept credit. I tried to kill you. That I failed is not virtue, is not heroism, is accident of engine. Ring in your surgeon's skill. Adler places a hand on Mitchell's shoulder. You are wrong, he says firmly. You did not fail. You succeeded at something different than intended. Your bombs created conditions for survival, gave me time, gave the Gestapo reason to delay search, gave us chaos to hide within. You were not villain that night. You were unwitting collaborator. Mitchell's eyes fill again. That is generous interpretation. That is only honest interpretation. Come to dinner, meet the family. See what we created together. Mitchell nods slowly, cannot speak. They walk together through Cologne's evening streets, 3 elderly people connected by mathematics that refuse to cooperate with war's expectations. It's because of one night when creation overwhelmed destruction through sheer human stubbornness. The youngest grandchild, age 7, approaches Mitchell. You're the pilot, she states. Mitchell nods. I am. You tried to kill my grandmother. I did not know she was there. But yes, the child considers this. Then, but you didn't. And now we're here. So thank you. It is child's logic. Simplistic, incomplete, and utterly devastating in its directness. Mitchell breaks, sobs. 42 years of not thinking, of not questioning, of following orders and trusting that his actions meant something good, collapsing. Adler embraces him. 2 men who tried to kill each other without knowing, who succeeded at saving each other without intending, who carry the weight of one impossible night across 42 years. It's all right, Adler whispers. We did not know. We could not know. But now we do. And knowing is better than not knowing. Painful, but better. Mitchell composes himself, apologizes T. Oh, the child, who does not understand why the pilot is crying. Dinner proceeds. Stories are shared. Rachel tells of growing up in England, always knowing she was saved, but never knowing details. Jakob, present by telephone from London, describes his career as engineer, his fascination with structures that withstand forces designed to destroy them. Sarah, connected by telephone from Tel Aviv, reads a poem she wrote about the night of 73, which she published without knowing the number. Was exact until Rachel's research confirmed it. The family asks Mitchell about his missions, his training, his life after war. Ask Adler about his medical career, his choices, his experience under Nazi regime. Both men answer honestly. Neither hides the darkness. Neither claims heroism. Both acknowledge they were ordinary people, making ordinary decisions in extraordinary circumstances and creating extraordinary outcome entirely by accident. The restaurant, smoking cigars, watching traffic pass. Do you ever wonder, Mitchell asks? About what? About the other times. The missions where I did kill people. where my accuracy meant death instead of accidental life, where no surgeon was operating in the basement, where the mathematics worked as intended. Adler is quiet for a long moment. Then, yes, I wonder about the patients I could not save, the Jewish families I did not hide, the times I followed orders instead of conscience, the choices I made that led to death instead of life. We cannot know what we created or destroyed beyond what we can see, can only know this. When we had the choice, when the moment came, we chose creation. That must be enough. Is it enough? Mitchell asks. For you? It has to be, Adler responds. Because the alternative is madness, is drowning in guilt for actions we took in darkness, in chaos, in war. We can acknowledge the darkness, can recognize the cost, but we cannot undo what was done, can only choose better when next choice comes. There will be no next choice, Mitchell says. I am 73. You are 82. Our wars are finished. There is always next choice, Adler corrects. Every day, every moment. Choose kindness or cruelty. Choose creation or destruction. Choose to act or to hide. The choices are smaller, less dramatic, but no less important. That is the lesson, I think. Not that we were heroes one night 42 years ago, but that we chose correctly when it may. Addered, and must continue choosing correctly every day until we die. Mitchell considers this. Nods, slowly. You are wiser than I am. I am older. Wisdom is just accumulated regret, refined into principle. They laugh, smoke in comfortable silence. Inside, the family continues celebrating. 27 lives that should not exist, gathering around a table, eating, laughing, living. Proof that war's mathematics are not absolute. That individual human choice matters. That 11 hours and 70. 3 bombs can create life if the humans involved refuse to accept the expected outcome. Increased. We'll tell the story again. We'll remind ourselves and them that creation is always possible, even in darkness, even under bombs, even when mathematics insist otherwise. They shake hands. Embrace briefly. Part. Mitchell returns to Cornwall. Adler to Munich. Rachel to America. Sarah to Israel. Jacob to London. The family disperses across continents, carrying with them the story of one impossible night when 73 bombs and 11 hours of surgery created outcome that war could not. Odd predict, mathematics could not calculate, and death could not prevent. E-surgeon verified. The impossible proven real. On the preserved operating table, next to Adler's restored surgical instruments, the museum has placed Mitchell's final flight log from that night. The entry reads, March 21st, 1945. Target, Cologne Hospital Complex. 73 bombs delivered. Target destroyed. Mission successful. Beneath it, a museum placard adds, Mission successful. 3 children saved. 27 lives created. Outcome, opposite of intended. Less. On. Human choice matters more than strategic necessity. Mathematics failed. Humanity succeeded. Even hours on March 21st, 1945. Each one carries the story. Each one understands. They are living proof that war's mathematics are not absolute. That individual human choice matters. That creation and destruction are not always opposites. That sometimes, accidentally, without intention, enemies collaborate to create life. That darkness contains possibility. That impossibility is just probability waiting to be disproven. G-tables. The bomb damage. The pocket watch stopped at 1423. The plaque. The photographs. The family tree growing year by year. Visitors come. Read the story. Leave changed. Because the story is impossible. Because the story is real. Because the story insists that human choice matters even when mathematics insist otherwise. Because 11 hours and 73 bombs should equal death. Instead, equaled life. Should equal destruction. Instead, equaled creation. Should equal despa. Ear. Instead, equaled hope. The mathematics failed. War's calculus collapsed. Individual human decisions overwhelmed strategic necessity. And 91 people live because one night, one surgeon, one pilot, one nun, and 3 children refused to accept the expected outcome. That is the lesson. That is the story. That is the mathematical impossibility preserved in concrete and memory. 11 hours, 73 bombs, 3 children, 91 descendants, 0 probability. 100% P. Roof. War lost. Humanity won. Not because of grand strategy, not because of brilliant tactics, but because ordinary people made ordinary choice to value life over ideology, creation over destruction, hope over despair. And the mathematics, confronted with such stubborn human insistence, had no choice but to surrender.